From Bernie Freely, always plays the streets of Baltimore for me, and happy birthday, Paul. Thank you very much indeed, Bernie. John Wallace, hello to you, my friend, as always. Thank you very much for your best wishes. And I have to thank everybody because I had a lovely day today. Working as normal, but I'll make up for this weekend, that I guarantee. So thanks indeed to everybody. Listen, we move on, and we're moving on to our next studio guest, and we say hello and welcome Conor BVowman.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad now.
It's good to see you. I was looking at your CV here. It's kind of what we have written down here. Singer, songwriter, comedian, writer, and a barrister, for good luck.
I'd say most of that is lies.
Very good. Give us a quick introduction to yourself, because you're a Dublin man, I take it.
I'm originally from Galway, Galway City.
Galway?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I grew up in Galway. Well, I lived in Galway. I'm not sure I ever grew up, but I live in Meath now, and I work in the law business. I'm a lawyer for the last 30 odd years, and I've always kind of written, and so I started writing appalling poetry when I was about 10, and I graduated onto awful kind of short stories and songs when I was about 15, and so I do kind of keep the two things going, and I kind of write songs and written a few novels and things like that.
So it sounds to me like a very busy workload.
It's not really. I kind of just make time for. I suppose everybody makes time for the things that are important for them, you know.
I suppose, would it be right in thinking maybe the stress levels in the legal work, that would be escapism?
A little bit of. I suppose people ask me how do you fit it all in. I'd say like a dwindling personal injury practice and a very understanding wife. But no, I mean, I went to a school reunion there a couple of years ago, and somebody said to me, you know, BVowman, do you like your job as a barrister? I said, absolutely, 100%. I said, you couldn't make it up. I get paid great money for calling people liars under the protection of absolute privilege. You couldn't make it up as a job description.
I love your honesty.
But you know, look, I've been very lucky. Things have kind of fallen for me, and there you go.
That's good. Well, listen, Conor, we're going to get a piece of music, if you don't mind. So, the first track you're going to do for us?
It's called The Big Question.
And it's your own?
Yeah. So this is a song I wrote. It was a guy I was at scuba called, I won't say his name, but anyway. But he knew everything about everything.
Oh,
so I thought I'd write a song called The Big Question if I ever got the chance. So, well, I know that you're unhappy. I suppose I just don't care. There was very little sympathy coming from your direction last September, 12 months, when out of the blue I began to lose my hair. Oh, I'm not trying to compare alopecia to cancer, although in an existential and actual way I am. But there are far bigger issues out there than just your illness, in inverted commas, or me failing the driver theory test exam. Such as, why don't the government just print more money? Why are safety matches more dangerous than they sound? Why do funerals rarely happen when it's sunny? Yeah. And if cargo is by sea and shipping is by road, shouldn't that be the other way round? Oh, yeah. So shouldn't that be the other way round? You know, I heard about it on the radio, yeah, that catastrophic and fatal fire. No one ever spares a thought at a time like this for the insurance underwriters, or the tuxedo that the homeowner only had out on hire. Well, they are killing elephants in Africa, yeah, and there are hurricanes down in the Caribbean. But in my experience, unless you've actually had an ingrown toenail yourself, you will have little or no idea what pain and suffering means. And there are questions to be answered and questions to be asked, such as who decided on 25 to instead of 35 minutes past? Hey, and why don't the government just print more money? Why are safety matches more dangerous than they actually sound? Why do funerals so rarely happen when it's sunny? Yeah, and if cargo is by sea and shipping is by road, shouldn't that be the other way around? Oh, yeah. Shouldn't that be the other way around?
Yeah. Very good, very good. Conor, thank you very much indeed. Conor BVowman. And I see your album, Fishing Star. Is that a recent album?
Yeah, that's the latest thing that I did. I was produced by Billy Robinson, and I recorded with a guy called Ian Smith, who I think you probably know.
Oh,
do you?
we know Ian, yeah.
So Ian and I met each other years and years ago.
Yeah.
At a songwriters thing in Rossnowla, and we meet up once a year in his house to try and write 2 songs in 2 days. And then we talked for years about doing an album, which we never, of course, got around to until last year. And so the songs, most of them are co-written with Ian Smith, and we sing half each.
This is a Smith and Bowman. I get it. Excellent. And there's what I love about this is, and it's sort of important, is the insert to come with it. All the words are on it, and a wee story, and I love that.
Yeah,
it gives that wee personal touch on it.
Oh no,
so
absolutely.
How many albums have you released into the year?
3. That's the 3rd album. So 1 years ago called Unlimited Songs for Life, back in 2002, and then had a comedy album of comedy songs called Raised on Spaghetti in 2022. And that's on a record label in the States. And then this one. With Ian Smith last year, so we just recorded it in the last year, and it just came out there, I think September, October.
Excellent. And if people want to get it, where is it available? Platforms? Is it on?
It's on platforms. It's on YouTube, but it's not on Spotify. But I think if you wanted to get it, you'd probably have to kill somebody. There's so few copies of it around. But anyway,
we have a couple here. So
I brought in a couple of copies for you, and you can give them away to people or whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Where who inspired you musically? Where did it come from?
When I was a kid, I was adopted. Not recently. I was adopted when I was a kid, but I thought I was obsessed with Elvis Presley. I thought Elvis Presley was my father.
Yeah.
For years, I thought, and he's going to turn up outside the jazz school in a limousine and bring me back to Memphis, but he didn't.
You never found out who your father was, did you?
I did eventually, yeah. And it turned out not to be even remotely related to the Presley family. So a big influence in Elvis Presley. I didn't really have any other records till I was about 17. And some girl in Galway said to me, "This is ridiculous. Other people write songs." I said, "I just don't accept that." And she said, "Look, here's a list of albums. Buy these 5 albums. Listen to them. And if you don't like them, I'll buy them back off you." So she gave me the names of 5 albums. One of them was Tapestry by Carole King. Another was Between the Lines, Janis Ian. One of them was Revolver by the Beatles. And the other 2, I can't remember the other 2 now.
And did that change you?
Did, yeah. Absolutely. Up to that point, I only owned Elvis Presley records and one single by a guy called David Dundas called Jeans On. Jeans On. You know that song? That was the only thing.
That was from the TV ad.
Yeah.
Well, I was like yourself. I still have my first Elvis album, Come On Everybody, and I still have it at home.
Brilliant.
And it was about 71, 72. And I stayed with that equally. And it didn't come out of commercial. What was fired at me commercially through like a Top of the Pops and the BBC, and that's until I got older, and then I started to branch out like yourself.
Yeah,
I would have heard something, and now I find if I hear, you could say to me tonight, do you ever listen to such and such, and I'll write it down, and then when I go home, I'll Spotify,
okay, fish it out, yeah.
And I've come on so many, if you'd have said to me growing up years ago, would you like Van Morrison? I wouldn't, that rubbish. And Bob Dylan equally, but now it's a whole different.
And that's the same that's happened to me over the years. And I'm a huge Beatles fan. Gilbert O'Sullivan is somebody I absolutely love.
Brilliant, yeah.
Like the Alan Parsons Project, like lots of people, and I've been very lucky to kind of listen to other people and to meet other people, kind of influence wise. But yeah.
It's funny that how that works. That's what worked for me. Do you gig much? Is gigging part of your life? Or?
The last 2-3 years, I've done stuff in kind of stand-up open mic nights, and then I did a couple of gigs in Dublin over the last year, in 3 or 4 gigs in theatres in Dublin, small little tiny theatres.
Yeah.
And
playing your own music.
Yeah, just all my own stuff. Yeah. So I did a one-man show called 2 Chords and Some Fibs. As opposed to 3 Chords and the Truth, and actually I did a gig at the beginning of December in a theatre in Dublin, and Billy Robinson came down and recorded it. So I'm actually up in his place at the minute, going through that as a live album. So yeah.
Stand up is a hard game.
Yeah, but look at
Where do you base your material on? Life or
stuff that's happened to me.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be stuff that you know about that's actually happened to you, and like bizarre enough things have happened to me in my life to kind of fill a few, a couple of half hours with people and a few songs and stuff like that, and you know.
What comedian would you look up to? Because you would need a comedian to sort of base it on. To start with.
I liked Woody Allen until he went all funny, and I suppose Tommy Tiernan. I know Tommy from Galway from years ago. So, but just there's a lot of people that Victoria Wood, people like that. Just just
rather than the joke after joke comedians.
No, that didn't really.
Stories is good.
Stories, stuff like that.
Very good. And going forward now, say the legal end of things. What would your plans be? Would you like to concentrate fully on the singing and the stand up, or?
I'd be very surprised if I ever made a living doing anything other than being a lawyer, to be quite honest. I remember somebody said to me, you write books. I said, yeah. They said, do you make a living from it? I said, no. The Irish book buying public decided 30 years ago that I wouldn't be doing it for cash or for money, or reward. But so I write books and do gigs and stuff like that, and it's fine. But I don't do it for money. I think and maybe that's
No, I get that totally, and you're probably you're probably coming in it with a better mindset, because you're not. It's not about money. It's the enjoyment, obviously.
Well, I'm certainly never disappointed with the takings for the evening.
No, I get that totally. I know where you're coming from on that line. But anyway, listen, we'd love to get another song. I'm going to take a quick commercial break and we'll come back. What are you going to do first, Nick?
I'll do the song called Cherry Tree, which is me dealing with the trauma of not being Elvis Presley's son.
Brilliant. Looking forward to this. Don't go away.
I'm Donnacha O'Callaghan with an emergency appeal for UNICEF. In Gaza, a ceasefire is finally coming. Children in Gaza have suffered unimaginable horrors. They've lost their homes, limbs, and faced famine levels of hunger. UNICEF is on the ground right now, delivering life-saving food, water and blankets. But we desperately need more supplies. Please donate now at unicef.ie and help save a child's life today. Thank you.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. Amazing prices on made-to-order kitchens, sliding wardrobes and much more. Don't miss your chance to transform your home at unbeatable prices. Book your appointment today at cherrymore.ie or call 07497 25822. Cherrymore, 28 years of adding quality and value to your home.
Yeah, welcome back. It's the Monday Night Sessions, and we have a gentleman, Conor BVowman is his name, an author and a recording artist, stand-up comedian, and a part-time job as a barrister. But we're delighted. Thanks. I want to just finally thank you for coming up. I really appreciate you being here.
No, that's great.
You've been telling us some good old stories. This next song, once again, is called
Cherry Tree.
Cherry Tree, and it's about this gentleman. If you'd missed the first part, he had a longing to be the illegitimate son of Elvis Presley, but it didn't work out that way.
I understand there were a number of difficulties. I mean, the closest he ever got to Ireland was Glasgow Prestwick Airport in 1960. I was born in 1965. My birth mum never actually met him, so there were a few, obstacles. But anyway.
Hey, but you never know.
No, of course not. No, of course not.
Oh, looking forward to this whenever you're ready.
It's called Cherry Tree.
Thank you.
Well, I'm wearing that U2 t-shirt you left behind in the drawer. I found one of those, what do you call them, under the passenger seat, and I'm still not quite sure what they're for. When the neighbors call round to borrow some flour, I say she's gone for a minute, she'll be back in an hour. But I know that they know, and I know you're gone. See, I think I finally realized that Elvis Presley is not my father. Part of me accepts that I won't be playing for Arsenal anytime soon. Oh, but out in the garden there's a cherry tree. It doesn't belong to you or me, but I'm hoping that you might come back when it blooms. I met somebody down in the grocery store and she's asked about moving in. Well, I put her off now for a month or more, but the excuses are wearing thin. When your favorite movie is on TV, oh, I know it's Tom Hanks, but I just wish it was me. Stealing your heart for the very first time, every time. Oh, I think I finally realized that Elvis Presley is not my father. Part of me accepts that I won't be playing for Arsenal anytime soon. Oh, out in the garden there's a cherry tree. It doesn't belong to you or me, but I'm hoping that you might come back when it blooms. And I want to do the crossword, but you know that I haven't a clue. Because 4 across and 16 down don't mean anything without you. Oh, I think I finally realized Elvis Presley is not my father. Part of me accepts that I won't be playing for Arsenal anytime soon. Out in the garden there's a cherry tree. It doesn't belong to you or me, but I'm hoping that you might come back when it blooms. Hey, don't you know that I am just hoping that you might come back when it blooms.
Yeah. Thank you, Conor BVowman. Has any of your songs, have all your songs got a comedy theme run through them?
No.
No?
No, the vast majority of songs I write are kind of straight songs.
Oh, yeah.
And
what inspires you to write songs? Is it something you pick up? Or
something I see, or maybe something I overhear, or just something like that.
Do you take note? Or what's the process for you?
A lot of stuff comes to me in the car when I'm driving. I have a notebook in the car. I don't have a mobile phone. I've never had a mobile phone.
No?
No, I think it's rubbish. I don't want anybody ringing me. And
you must have a mobile phone.
Not at all, no. I do not, absolutely not. 100%. I just refuse to get a mobile phone.
I know it worked years ago, but how does that work for, say, like a barrister?
Really, really well. I have a landline at home, and I have email, and that's it.
Oh.
I have to say, I got laser treatment on my eyes because I'm a diabetic. And years ago, when I started getting the treatment, 7 or 8, 10 years ago, my wife dropped me into the Mater Hospital for the treatment, so I couldn't drive, after the treatment.
Yes.
So I got a train back home to Dunboyne. I hadn't been on a train in 20 years. And I stepped on the train in Drumcondra, and I still, to this day, I remember stepping onto the train, and my immediate thought was, they must be making a commercial or an ad for mobile phones. And I was looking around for a TV camera, because every single person in the carriage was on a phone, including a kid sitting on a grandmother's lap. Yeah. And I said to my wife, I think they were making an ad for a mobile phone on the train. Yeah. She said, no, that's just how everybody else lives their life. I have to say, I was absolutely shocked by it. I just think it's absolute rubbish. Why on earth would you give away? Why on earth would you give away all of that information about yourself? You see two people in a restaurant, a guy and a girl, on a date, and they're both scrolling through the phone. They're hardly texting each other. I really, just find it mind-boggling. I think I just couldn't be bothered wasting my time on a mobile phone.
I'm shocked, surprised, but it's a brilliant philosophy. Like it's a
it works for me. I read books, and look, if somebody owes me money, I'll find them. And if I owe somebody money, they'll find me. And you know what I mean?
They'll not be text you.
Exactly.
Great stuff, Conor from Kedgy Strand. Toxin. We know who that is. Ian Smith.
Ian Smith, yeah.
Good man, Ian.
Good stuff.
And Donald Ward says, very entertaining. Thank you very much indeed. Ian, we'll have to get Ian up again some night, Jimmy, because Ian was up a few years back, and it's been quite a while, but we'll have to get him up.
So I did that album with him. The interesting thing about it is that Ian Smith thinks that Smith and Bowman is the alphabetical order for the two names, which is very interesting.
Very good, very good. I'm totally intrigued about this mobile phone. Genuinely am, and I think it's brilliant. But it's you know, I was like yourself. I remember when there was no such thing as mobile phones, and I wonder could I go back to that? I don't know.
I think it's difficult to go back.
Aye,
you know,
you never had a mobile.
No, just never. No, I've been offered it by people.
Oh, I've no
my
doubt.
family, my wife has one. My kids have them. I don't know the kids' numbers. I know my wife's number, but
do they find it frustrating trying to contact you, or do they just
I'm
go?
the last person they want to see.
Well, I love that.
No, not at all. No.
Very good. Where can people go along and see you? Where are you performing next?
I'm hoping to bring this one-man show to any theatre that'll actually have me.
Okay.
And I hope to be playing at the only place that's kind of fixed for this year, I hope, is the Clifton Arts Festival in September. Which obviously is in Clifton. Yeah. And so I'm hoping to do it there.
And so if people go along to see you, it's entirely your own material.
Yeah.
Both musically and...
Absolutely, yeah.
And your writing, what's your topics in that, or what subjects have you covered in that? Is it novels? Or?
Yeah, it's novels. So I've written maybe 6 novels, published about 6 novels. One of them was in Irish. The first thing I ever wrote was actually in Irish. I went to school through Irish.
Oh, very good.
In Galway. I wouldn't be a big Irish language fan. I went to college in Galway and I studied Irish for a year as one of my art subjects. And I always wanted to write something in Irish. I kind of felt there was a bit of a snobbery about it in Galway if you weren't a native speaker, which I'm not. I remember being on a debate team there, and I was the only non-native speaker on the debate team.
Yeah.
And somebody came up to me in the Common Age or whatever it was, and they said, how come you're on this team, I said, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that they couldn't find a native speaker who was actually funny and intelligent.
Yeah. That would have done well.
But anyway, it didn't go down well. So I wrote the first novel I wrote was in Irish, and I only got it published about 3 years ago after lots of to and fro and finding an editor and all that.
Excellent. And what are? I'm just curious. What are the novels?
One of the novels, the one that did best, is called Horace Winter Says Goodbye, and it's a story of a bank assistant bank manager who retires at the beginning of the book and discovers he's very ill, and he sets about trying to sort out the things in his life that went wrong. He's obsessed with butterflies and moths and categorizes everybody he meets as a butterfly or a moth. Okay. He finds a letter that his dad wrote years ago before he died. And tries to track down the person his dad had written the letter to. So it's a straight novel, but that guy, and that did really, really well.
Very good.
And then the follow-up novel to that was called Huey Mittman's Fear of Lawnmowers, which is probably the most personal book I've written, in the sense that it's about a kid growing up in Galway in the 70s who discovers he's adopted and sets about to try and figure things out. There's a friend of mine in Australia, a writer called Hayley Lawrence, and she says all your books are full of themes of abandonment. So maybe that's why people throw the books away eventually. But mix of things, yeah.
And that upbringing you had, are you okay with that, or
yeah.
No problem.
I know as a writer you're supposed to have a miserable childhood to get you off to a kind of a head start, but
you didn't.
No, not a good childhood.
Good.
No, it was good.
That's good.
I enjoyed living in Galway, and good time growing up. It was good crack, and yeah.
Well, you've done very well, and you know what I mean. In fairness, and we've certainly enjoyed your company. You brought comedy and your skills with you, and brilliant. Long may it continue. How long do you? Well, I probably know the answer, really, but how long do you intend staying at the legal profession? Have you got a cut-off time that you just like to get out of it, or?
No, I don't. I'll just
keep making the money.
I just keep going until I stop enjoying it.
Aye.
I would say I'm enjoying it less than I did. The kind of crack has kind of gone out of it.
Okay.
In the sense that it's become a lot more streamlined. There's an awful lot more people doing it. The profession's much bigger, and I don't know. Tipping away actually doing it. I never look for work, but whatever comes my way, I do it. So, and that's, look, I'll just keep going till I stop, keep going,
Hey, tell Conor Damien is wondering how the border patrols didn't pick him up on the way through.
Because I didn't come through the north. I drove all the way up to Sligo and came up the west. I snuck up the west coast, adding hours and hours to my. Who's that? Damien Crawford, I'd say, now in Rafo or someplace.
DC.
Damien Crawford, yeah.
Enjoying the show immensely.
Yeah,
Very
Damien
good.
Crawford, yeah.
Give you my number.
Eh?
Give you my number, but you won't call him back.
Yeah.
You want his number not to call him back.
Yeah, I know it.
Very good, Damien. You're an amazing character. We'd love to get a final song if you don't mind.
So this is it's a bit more serious, and this is it's funny, like if you write or if you're creative, it's like solving a puzzle. You have an idea, you try and sort it out, and when it's almost when the song is finished, you don't lose interest in it, but the if you like the struggle is to try and get the pieces to fit.
Yeah.
And in a way, the last song you've written is always the best song.
Yes.
Because that's the one that's most uppermost in your mind. Anyway, I was at home just last week, and just tricking around on the guitar, and I wrote this song. It's called God, and it's a little bit different from the other ones, but Billy Robinson likes it, so that's good enough for me.
It's good enough for me too.
I can walk across the hallowed land, read the lies on newsstands, and lean on you and hope for change. You smile and measure out the chamomile, then you add me to the growing pile of people you have learned to blame. But worlds turn and ordinary people turn to rust, and beggars, thieves, and kings return to dust, and God looks on. Wounds heal, imprints where the sinners kneel, the strangers on the Ferris wheel. Well, they're open now to how and why, and ghosts call, then they settle on the churchyard wall. Will they save us from the death fall and cauterize the bleeds behind your eyes? And worlds turn and ordinary things begin to rust, and beggars, thieves, and kings return to dust, and God looks on. I can walk across the hallowed land, read the lies on newsstands, lean on you and hope for change. You will smile and measure out the chamomile, then add me to that growing pile of people you have learned to blame. And the world's turn and ordinary people start to rust, and beggars, thieves, and kings return to dust, and God looks on.
Yes. Thank you very much indeed, Conor BVowman, and God. And Conor BVowman and Ian Smith have an album out at the minute called Fish and Star, and it goes on the name of Smith and BVowman. And are you on social media platform?
Are you joking?
That's a silly question. Isn't it?
Absolutely. There was I
I
have an Instagram account, apparently. One of my daughters has set up, but there's no posts on it, and it's just a photograph. And she set it up about 2 years ago. So yeah, I don't know how to get at it. And
Paul, that singer reminds me of Dawn McLean.
okay, well,
From Mary. Thank you.
a lot of other people say, what do you call them? Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Aye, there's that element
Yeah.
there too. Yeah, I get that too. Yeah.
Somebody said about the comedy end of things, you know, when I told my family I was going into comedy, they laughed. They're not laughing now.
Very good. Conor, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks a million for having me.
Thank you very much indeed. Billy, thank you very much indeed.
No problem.
Billy Rosen is always looking after things here, and we totally appreciate it. You're a breath of fresh air coming on there tonight.
Not at all,
Really, really enjoyed that, and we wish you well. And maybe you'll pop up and see us some other time.
I will, yeah.
Conor BVowman, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover